what men want to know about the women they date, but they're not likely to get a straight answer. Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. Once again, I'm so happy to welcome back love coach Junie Moon, the author of Loving the Whole Package, Shed the Shame and Live Life Out Loud, sitting right there behind me, and the host of the Midlife Love Out Loud podcast. Junie, I'll link to that. It's terrific. Thank you for being here again.
Oh my God, I love hanging with you, sister. So happy to be back.
As the title of your podcast particularly implies, you specialize helping women in midlife and beyond find love again. And what I'd like to do today in that regard is actually turn the table a little bit. And that is what men want to know about the women they date, but they're not likely to get a straight answer. So that caught my attention. What do you think?
I think it's a really important topic because at the end of the day, we want to understand each other. We want to kind of know what's going on and we don't want to waste any time. So I think this is an awesome topic.
Number one, does she actually like me, or is she just being polite?
How do you know? That is a good question. The very beginning, the first date, the second date, even the third date, you're getting to know each other. It's not an easy thing to actually truly know. So does she really like you? How does she appear? Is she seemingly relaxed? Is she enjoying herself? And then, of course, the big thing is, what is she saying to you? And that's where it gets tricky, because you don't want to be the detective. You don't want to have to try to figure out, does she really mean this? Is she really being honest? Sometimes women are just trying to test the waters, just like you guys, to kind of go, is this going to work? Is this someone I'm really interested in? It's let's just call this is a tricky topic.
Generally, what I thought was really super interesting about this is that they said here that women are conditioned to be nice and not honest. And that's why this in particular is difficult sometimes for men to understand, because we, like you said, we don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
We don't want to hurt someone.
Yeah.
And all we're doing really is maybe causing confusion, just like this question implies.
Right. So the first one was testing the water is not so sure. Maybe not knowing even what they want. And then there's that big epidemic of people pleasing. And women, I mean, so many women that come to me say, I'm still being the good girl and I don't want to hurt his feelings. And I don't want to say something that is going to ruffle the feathers. And I'm sorry, guys, women struggle with this. We've been trained, and I say we, because this is something I've worked on. We've been trained to be careful and to say the right things.
Well, and to the women, if that is you, if it's not working, it's not working.
But yeah, that's the tricky thing, is sometimes people don't know it's not working. And let me keep trying. I mean, how many women come to me saying, I stayed so long, or I didn't express myself and I was being really nice. So it doesn't serve anybody. And yet, if you don't know how to really honor your heart and know your bottom line of this isn't good for me, or to be able to say to a guy, I really like you, but you're not a fit. This doesn't feel right. It does get murky. And then everybody does get, their feelings hurt. So it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Number two here, what does she really want? Does she want companionship or commitment? Does she want a relationship, or, am I being put in the friend zone here?
Yeah. And again, that's where we all, men and women, have to buckle up and ask some of these really important questions. And I train, if you will, coach, whatever you want to call it. I help my women and my clients ask these questions before you even meet on that first date. Don't you want to know what somebody's looking for? What is your dream relationship? Do you just want someone to play with and hang out with or have sex with? Or are you looking for X, Y, and Z? Because this is what I'm looking for. And I will say that in the past, before I met my partner, that was something that was surprising to men. They thought maybe I was a little too forward on that first conversation, where I said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a long-term blah, 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 blah. And I've had men say, I got to be honest with you. I remember this one guy. I got to tell you, there was this one guy, I still think about it. He was so hot, so wonderful. We had so much in common. We were on our first date. This was mega years ago, having a great time. I started this conversation and he said to me, I'm realizing I don't know what I want and I don't think I'm ready for you, and he said it in a nice way. And I was disappointed. And yet, yay, I didn't want to be wasting time with someone who didn't know what he truly wanted. So having this conversation early, first conversation, second conversation, get on the same page or you're going to waste a lot of time or get your heart broken.
Good for him for saying that.
Unbelievable. But then we had a hot kiss in the hot kiss in the parking lot. And I'm like, do I really want a long-term relationship or do I have some fun with him? It was just a one-time.
I think that's terrific. Yeah, no, but it's terrific. He was honest. He was nice. That's what you want. And again, here they say that one of the reasons women have an issue with this or send mixed messages is because they don't want to come off as needy or, like you said, pushy.
Needy or pushy.
Pushy.
Yeah, exactly. We're constantly told, don't be in your masculine, be in your feminine, right? Yeah. And yet when we can really own what it is, what's important to us and really speak our truth, I have found men, especially my partner, but men are like, they're thankful. Thank you for letting me know where you stand, because this is the topic here. What are women really thinking? Where am I in this? What zone am I in? I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to be too direct. I don't want to look too emotional, too needy. And then there's just the part of the woman that's just scared. They're just cautious.
Well, and our men, leave your comments. Are these questions that you have? And as you hear us talking about it, do you agree? Would you have something to add? Always love getting the comments so we can address them, perhaps in another segment. So here's another good one. Why can't she just say what's wrong? And the implication here is that the reason we have issues with it, we don't want to say what's wrong. We want men to notice that there's something.
Yeah. Doesn't he know what I'm thinking? Why do I have to say it? Because if I have to say it, then it's just not important anymore. It just doesn't matter anymore. He should have known. Well, that's where, again, women have to start communicating better what their needs are. And yet, why can't women do that? Again, a huge topic. With that said, women have been hurt. Women have been shamed. You're asking for too much. You're too much. You're too vulnerable. You're too needy. And women are to be seen and not heard. I mean, these are the things that women in our culture have been trained by parents and everywhere, still to this day. So if you truly want to know what's going on inside of her heart, create a beautiful, safe place for her so her nervous system can relax, and then she will open and she will share everything with you.
Well, and as you say, at this point in our life, we do bring so much baggage to the table, and that baggage doesn't have to be a bad thing, but experience, some of which screws up what's going on up here. So the next question is, she says she's fine, but her energy says otherwise, that I'm fine trap.
If you're spotting that, say, hey, can I ask you something? Are you really fine? Because I really want to know what's going on inside of you. And then it's up to her. Again, it's about communicating and creating a safe place for her. Because I know I was the queen of I'm fine, and I wasn't fine,
Same thing. And to this day, I really have to catch myself. And when I do say it, I snap out, but it's like, I'm fine. No, you're not. And I don't know why we do that.
It runs deeply. And again, this is our self-protection of, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to be shamed. So if your radar is up and there's something that you're noticing, ask.
This is an interesting question here. Is she testing me with all these indirect comments? Do we test intentionally? I thought this was really interesting.
I think it's a yes. And again, yes, women test men. I have done that. It's like, how is he going to react to this one? Am I safe? See, that's the thing. If you're noticing or you're thinking somebody's testing you, it's because they are scared. It's because they've had an experience. Is he going to rage? Is he going to be respectful? If I say no, does he listen to me? So there's the conscious, let me see how he's going to act. And I think most of it's unconscious. I think most of us, again, as human beings, are, for men and women, are testing the waters to ask ourselves, can we really trust this person? Can I really open to this person? So we both do it.
Well, here's another one we both do. Why does she say she wants independence, but then gets upset if I give her space?
Ah, yes, the infamous space giving. Because we want interdependence. We want to have our own space to go out with our friends, have space to whatever it is that we want to do on our own in our homes. And we want to create a life together. You know, it's like two people coming together. There's the overlap, but women are still wanting time for themselves, just like men. When you give her too much space, then what happens if there's not good communication? A woman's going to think, doesn't he want me anymore? Is he not thinking of me anymore? So again, talk about it. What does space look like? What's important to you when it comes to independence? I mean, my partner and I are constantly talking about like, hey, there's something going on. Is that okay? Does that work for you? Because this matters to me. And if it matters to us, we make it work. We are two people having lives that have been blended. So communication, what does that mean? And how do we co-create an interdependent relationship where we can be there together, build this together, and also have our, what is it called? The man cave, or, you know, the female.
Yeah, I was just going to say yes, thank you, John Gray. I've talked with him about that. Man cave is a great concept, good example, because I think men think about their space and their independence differently than we do. And that's where the confusion comes in, just like you said. But there is a difference between what space and independence means to us versus no, I think.
Again, it's about really talking about it, you know, in very early in the relationship, and noticing, how are you communicating? How often are you texting? What works for both of you? I mean, I have a dear friend. We can not talk for a really long time and then jump on the phone, and she'll say, oh yeah, I can go for days without talking to somebody and not notice. She's like that. For me, I like to connect on a daily basis with people that are close. So again, who are you dating? Who is in your life? What works for you both? What's important for you both? What does it look like? Those are the things we need to know so that we can really support each other.
And then one more here. Why does it feel like I'm always guessing? You know, you just can't get a straight answer, as we said at the top of the segment. Yeah. But why does it always feel like, I'm guessing?
So this is where it's tricky, because not everyone's done a lot of the inner work. Not everybody truly is healthy between their ears. I mean, not that I'm perfect, but I've come a long way. There's no guessing with my partner. He knows exactly where I am. But I've done a lot of work on myself. And so if you're constantly guessing, again, you could try to have deeper conversations and maybe take some classes and even encourage her to get some support around how to express herself. How do you create a safe place? Coming back to safety again, how do you create a safe place so she knows she can share what's going on in her heart and what she desires or what she needs? And at the end of the day, if you're guessing and she's not able to do that, and you're really in the beginning of a relationship, it might not be your relationship if it's driving you nuts, you know. Right. But talk.
Yeah. I think the big awareness for both, and maybe even more so for women, that we understand this, because we were taught, and I'm talking about myself and our generation, not to ask directly for what we want. I mean, I think we've touched on that earlier, and just to suggest and then hope that, he gets it, or hope that he gets it, that you don't just come out and ask what you want. And that's hard to break, to get out of our training, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's what I work on with my clients. Like one of the biggest things I work on with my clients is how to have those difficult conversations, how to actually say, hey, this is what just happened. And this is what I desire. This is what I want. This is what I need, coming from a place of vulnerability and yet feeling solid within themselves. Most people, all of us really, have not been taught that until we learn it, to sweep things under the rug. And again, women are more guilty of this than men, of, well, hopefully they'll figure it out, and then we talk to our girlfriends and go, can you believe he didn't get the clue and he hasn't figured this out yet? And well, as Dr. John Gray would say, we're different. And so we need to let people know what's going on inside of us.
It's a great topic. It's a great topic that was meant really to help men. But I think the more I think about this is something that really helps women. Is there anything else you want to add before we close?
With everything that we've talked about at this point, we could say it's not a straight road. It's complicated. We've all had these experiences. We've all had a life. If we could just be more gentle and compassionate with ourselves, to go, okay, I'm a little scared here. I'm not sure if I want to say this or ask this. And maybe I need to get some support from a love coach or some class or something so you can express yourself more. That would be awesome. And so that would be more for the men, for the women, even though that would be valuable for the men too. But for the men to realize that we have been indoctrinated into being the good little girl and to be in our feminine and to not be that forward. The more you can be in your heart and love her up, even if you don't know her, from that heart space of yours, going, oh yeah, here's a woman who I like that has had an experience. How can I meet her in a new way that she can open to me? So just more understanding. So your topic is how do men understand women more? How about just that? Understand that women are coming to you with a history and that they might need some love and care and some gentleness for them to open and share honestly with you.
Yeah. And if you think you're not getting straight answers, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Here's all the reasons why. So Junie, thank you so much. I always enjoy talking with you. We will link to our previous segments as well. Junie and I have had some great talks. And then be sure to tune into Junie's podcast, Midlife Love Out Loud. She covers a lot of the same topics that we do here, with content experts and advice that we're all looking for. So all of your information will be in the show notes below. And I look forward to our next conversation on Second Act TV.